Wait a minute, I know these characters. Ghibli doesn't do sequels. Hello lovely people of YouTube and welcome back to Mark on Life and GhibliTime! Thank you so much to everybody who watched last week's episode, which was the incredible Spirited Away. If you haven't seen that episode, I will leave a link in the description below and of course at the end of this video. Today we are looking at a unique offering in the Ghibli canon, and that is The Cat Returns. The Cat Returns was first released on the 20th of July 2002. And it's funny, I've just noticed that seems to be a popular date. Around the 20th, 17th of July, a lot of Studio Ghibli films come out at that same time. I don't know if they have a deal with the studios or something. Toho was usually the studio that came out with. But why that week? Right in the middle, the second or third week of July. Not sure exactly why. Do you know why? Tell me why. But it's pretty much the same week every single time. Japanese title for this one is Neko no Ongaishi, which is slightly different. It actually means the cat's repayment. Sort of more like either the repayment of a debt, more likely the repayment of a favour or something like that. Which makes quite a lot of sense in this story. People think it means possibly a few different things, but I think it means one particular character. I won't tell you who because you'll work it out yourself, but it makes sense to me. So where did it come from? Well, The Cat Returns is, as I said, a unique film in the Ghibli sort of series because it's the only one that is a sort of spin-off or sequel. I won't call it a direct sequel to, of course, Whisper of the Heart, which we covered a few weeks back, because it's not like a direct sequel where it just carries on the stories of the events of that story. But a few of the characters have moved over from Whisper of the Heart to The Cat Returns. So it's more of a spin-off in that sense, which is the first time that Studio Ghibli ever did that. In 1999, a theme park came to Studio Ghibli with the idea of creating this sort of short piece for them. This was just affectionately known as the Cat Project. And so Aoi Hiragi was brought in to do the manga for this, which he did, and it's called Baron the Cat Returns, or in Japanese, Baron Neko no Danshaku, which actually means Baron the Cat Baron, which is slightly less of a catchy title. So it started off as a short film, just 20 minutes, but shortly after that the theme park cancelled the project. But Studio Ghibli didn't really want to sort of just cancel all their work on it because they'd done loads of stuff, loads of preparation. So instead they decided to use this project to test out new directors. Hiroyuki Morita was the person that they chose. He was one of the animators for My Neighbours the Yamadas, which again we covered a few weeks back. And now the film had moved from 20 to 45 minutes. However, Morita did so much work. He did a 500 plus sort of page storyboard from Hiragi's original manga work that Ghibli was so impressed that it was made into a feature, and that is what we see today. The English dub on this one is unusually fantastic. It's a really short film, 74 minutes, one of the shortest Studio Ghibli films that's ever been made, and yet the cast is enormous. You've got Anne Hathaway in the lead playing Haru. You've got people like Christine Sutherland, Carrie Elwes, Judy Greer, Kristen Bell, Elliot Gould, just endless sort of well-known people, all fantastic performers. So it's unusual that we've just come from Spirited Away, you know, the biggest, most successful one, where actually it's not massively filled with A-listers, and this one, very small, spin-off, more famous actors than I've ever seen. So yeah, absolutely, the dub on this one is awesome. So what happens in The Cat Returns? Well, our hero in this one, as you can expect, is a young girl, as Studio Ghibli likes to do. Haru is a young girl who is a bit messy, not particularly good at chores, and we see her on her way to school. Doesn't even bother with breakfast, straight out the door. And on her way to school, her and her friend notice this cat, very smart looking cat, sort of carrying a little gift down the road, which is a bit odd. And the cat wanders into the road, and just before it gets hit by a massive semi-truck, Haru grabs it up with her lacrosse stick and saves it. And oddly, the cat then sort of stands up on its hind feet and thanks her. Actually speaks to her and thanks her. And she's sitting there completely speechless and thinking she's gone mad. Tells her friend, obviously, friend doesn't believe her. Tells her mum, obviously, mum doesn't believe her. But her mum says something odd. She says, well, you've told me that before. You've said that you can speak to cats before. And she's like, what? And she remembers this time when she was very, very young and this dirty little white kitten came over to her looking hungry and she fed it all her little fish biscuits that she had and then told mum that she'd talked to it and had this sort of like very nice conversation with this little kitten, and they hadn't thought about it since, but it was just odd to her that she'd said that to her mum before. That night, a procession of cats comes to Haru's house, led by the king himself, to thank her for what she did, because the cat that she saved was actually the prince. So it's an enormously sort of brave thing that she's done. And so they say they want to thank her. And so they start showering her with gifts. Obviously not particularly great gifts for a human. They start giving her mice and very odd things and 5,000 lacrosse sticks because she had a lacrosse stick. And she's not particularly pleased with this. And she's visited by a sort of ensign of the cat world who says, you are going to come and our best gift, you're going to get a tour of the cat kingdom. And she's like, oh, that's quite exciting. But also, you're going to marry the prince. Loon, his name is. She's like, oh God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to marry a cat. This is all getting a bit weird and odd. Suddenly she hears this voice, this sort of ethereal voice saying, you must find the cat bureau. Which she thinks, this is very, very odd. So she's walking around town and she sees this great big fat white cat called Tthe, who we find out later. And so she says to him, do you know where the cat bureau is? No, obviously he doesn't answer. So she thinks, oh God, I am going mad. Why am I talking to a cat? You know what I mean? But the cat starts wandering off. And just like Whisper of the Heart, she follows it. And she follows it all the way to the cat bureau. The cat bureau is at this cute little sort of alley, the size for cats, where she's introduced to Baron Humbert von Gickingen, or the Baron, as we know him. This is the character that anybody that's seen Whisper of the Heart will recognise. It's the fantastically sort of smart and brave looking sort of handsome cat known as the Baron. And now she knows who Tthe, the big white cat, is, and also Toto, the crow that is their friend. And so she meets with them and she tells them what's going on. All of a sudden, the cats from the cat kingdom come to get her and transport her off to the cat world. So the Baron, Toto and Tthe go after her so they can kind of see how she is and see how she gets on, and they follow her all the way to the cat kingdom. So Haru gets to the cat kingdom, and to start with, she thinks it's really nice. It's beautiful, it's calm, she feels very at home there. But she's warned by a very pretty white cat that you've got to go. Miss Haru, you've got to go home now. Don't stay, you've got to go, which she finds quite odd. And so she's taken to the palace and she's told, you are going to marry the prince. And now she's starting to get a bit worried, because she's being dressed up almost for marriage. She started to become a cat, and now she's getting very, very worried. And she's in the ballroom banquet starting to be entertained by jesters and dancers and stuff. You've got this mad king who starts throwing people out the window if they don't entertain him. All of a sudden, this brave figure appears to entertain her, who we find out is the Baron. And of course, he sweeps her up and gets her out of there and attempts to rescue her. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't want to say any more. Does the Baron actually rescue her and get her home? Does she turn back from a cat to a human? Who was the white cat? Why was she so involved? And where's the prince? Will she get away from the king? What happens? I will leave it up to you. Do I recommend The Cat Returns? Yeah, absolutely. It's really fun. It's a really short one. Like I said, about 75 minutes. So it's not some big, long epic. It's really fun. It's a bit sort of silly, crazy fantasy, little sort of charming story. Again, classic Studio Ghibli. Do I like it? Yeah, absolutely. So do I recommend it? Yes. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. It really does help. Leave me a comment. Have you seen The Cat Returns? If you have, what did you think of it? Share this video anywhere you want and subscribe to my channel to see more. Next week we're going to cover one of the most popular Studio Ghibli films, and that is Howl's Moving Castle. I'm on all the usual social media platforms, as you know. Twitter, Instagram are Mark Joseph Actor, so go follow me there now. Click over here somewhere to see the last episode, which was Spirited Away, and click over here somewhere to see my movie-based comedy series, Retrospectives. So I will see you all right back here next week for Howl's Moving Castle. But from me, Mark on Life and GhibliTime, I will speak to you soon.